Okay, so Gina Esoldi was here many years ago, and it was so incredible that I begged her to come back. In 2014, with her kids raised and she moving into a new chapter of her life, she was blessed with meeting Sally Montrucino, the founder of Next Step Service Dogs. This chance meeting in a dog park changed Gina's life. She discovered her life's calling, selecting and training assistant dogs for veterans, primarily those with PTSD and or TBI, and providing 24/7 lifelong support. In 2016, she received her certification as a professional dog trainer. Having the opportunity to work with not only amazing dogs, but also the men and women that have served our country is more than she had hoped or planned. Gina is truly passionate about her work and beyond grateful to the men and women that continue to provide purpose for her every single day. Subsequently, Gina founded Companion Dog Training to teach puppy classes for veteran-owned puppies and adolescent dogs. CDT also employs veterans that have graduated from the NSSD program. I'm going to introduce David to you, who would like to just introduce who she is to him.
Thank you so much. So as a veteran, I feel like I'm in the right place with the right people. But furthermore, I felt like I needed to dress up a little bit. So I wore my Idaho tuxedo. I feel like I'm in the right population here. So I'm going to kind of tell a little bit about my story, and I've got a little bit of something to say, and then I will introduce Gina. So as a combat veteran or a corpsman with the Marine Corps with 3-1, I had a couple of tours there, and getting out was a little bit challenging. Here, this is Sky. She is about 3 years old. I've had her for about a year now. We got fully certified in October. We've been on planes together. We've been on restaurants, as well as some of the business meetings that I go on as well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of how it came to me here today. I was asked to kind of speak this morning, so bear with me and thank you for your patience. Sorry, thank you for that. So I do have another dog, more of an emotional support dog. When I got out, my sister got me that dog, and because she read that getting out of the military, the number one thing is the camaraderie that military members miss. And so that really did help me get through many years. And so that's kind of where this story kind of starts. So I have a pet dog named Buddy, and we have been together for 13 years. We have old routines and habits from a life long ago. He was there for me when I got out of the military as a kid or a boy, with a train full of pent-up emotions and expectations with a pinch of entitlement. Buddy was there for me to never judge, never let me be alone, and have a sense of and give me a sense of responsibility. Therefore, a reason to stick around on this earth and with a purpose. I had a responsibility to give him a good life. It was never easy, since it was hard to find a rental and to live in, or cash was sometimes tight. And I needed to buy food for another life or a friend. Sometimes I gave up my food for him, since he was my responsibility. I have never been homeless for Buddy, not for me. Everyone that knows me, we are a team and go everywhere together. There have been times where I have wanted to let someone else take care of him, yet I could never do that. And this pushed me to be better, striving to get into a house with a better yard, or even go to school so I can get a career and be stable, so I don't have to move him around all the time. As of late, Buddy is getting older, and older every day, and therefore less interested in the excitement of life or a body that can keep up with his mind. So I thought I should get another dog to replace my best friend as a seamless transition. Yet I did not expect the transition to a new dog to be so challenging for me. I needed to retrain myself to train Sky, since the last time I trained Buddy was too tough and hard. I was too tough and hard on him. I find him fearing me sometimes, which kills me. With my service dog, Sky, I had to learn to be open-minded and willing to train in a different way. So this post-training fear does not happen again with my new dog. Training with food, repetition, even thinking outside the box of how my voice, muscles, gestures are sending the message that I'm not trying to send, that I'm trying to sense. The outside of my body is matching the inside. I am somewhat used to this, yet not in the new me. Now that it has been 10 years or so more being out of the military, this also forced me to read emotions on a face. Without words, it is hard to communicate with my dog. Therefore, reading body language and facial gestures can be hard for PTSD recipients, and needs to learn this skill from the ground up again. Sky is forcing me to do this and changing me as we grow together every day. She is asking for love and learning new routines. She is patient and thinks the world of me, all the while trusting and respecting me more and more. I sometimes feel I don't feel I deserve anyone's love or affection. Sky always reminds me that this thought process is not true. In the end, I want to be the man that Sky thinks I am versus the one I am today. This thought helps me to strive to be better and better every day. We are learning how to be better for each other all the time, and enriching each other's lives as we grow together, striving to understand our individual needs without trying to change who we are at the core, guiding the positive change for the better as we make every daily or hourly adventure fun with a pinch of enlightenment. This mindset change is everything to a veteran's PTSD journey. Our mind is the strongest muscle and the hardest to get into. Our mind can be a double-edged sword, from being our worst enemy to our greatest gift. There are many ways to try and tap into this machine to repair it. It is more effective, in my opinion, having a service dog walking around with you every day and all day versus just into an appointment for an hour a week. This transition can be hard, yet it can also be the most rewarding in the fastest time frame. Veterans are always the ones getting the thanks for our service, yet when veterans come home and need help transition with PTSD, everyone thinks of potentially doctors pushing pills and needles full of hopes and dreams. Having a dog always allows me to rethink me at my own pace and in peace within me and for me. These dog trainers and coordinators are the unsung heroes behind the scenes helping veterans recover. The responsibility is not only to train a great service dog and companion for a veteran for this time frame. Their commitment is also for veterans' health and self-awareness, so they can be a better person for their families, for their spouses, friends, sons, and daughters, to be a better father or a mother for the future time frames to come. Love or hate is taught by the people that we look up to or surround us. These dogs help heal the wounds and hate, so we can teach love and compassion to the people that surround us today and for future generations alike. So thank you, trainers and coordinators for service to those that don't know they need it, affecting the future generations that did not know it was you that spilled the blood, the sweat, and the tears to heal the hurting and enabling the immobile. For challenging veterans and first responders to reconnect with themselves through unconditional love that is taught to a dog and passed to the owner unknowingly. You are the actual hero here in my story. Thank you. So on that note, I wanted to introduce Gina, our fearless leader with Next Step Service Dogs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here again. I really appreciate it. I had such a nice time and really enjoyed my visit. I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, but time does march on. Before I get started, I think everybody did meet our teams that are here today. We have a small group here, about 10 veteran teams, and once again, it's Jay. We have Jay, Levi, David you just heard from, Dane, and then there's another veteran here in the room that did not introduce himself. He is a owner-trained team. He has his own dog that we are, a companion dog that we are training to be his service dog. This is his first big outing, the dog's first big outing, so he's just keeping him calm in the back and that is Mark in the back with his dog, Chesty, so thank you. Bear with me a second while I get this going. Sorry. Okay, a little bit about Next Step Service Dogs before I get started. We are a San Diego-based corporate organization, and I have lived in California for 20 years, but I tell everybody I'm from New Jersey. I kid you not. I'm there by default. Anyway, no, I'm very grateful to be there because if I had not moved to California and had the opportunity to meet Sally Montruccio, I would not be able to do what I do today and find a passion that has just completely changed my life. So I am grateful for that reason to be in California. Next Step Service Dogs, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. Very exciting. I've been with Next Step 8 years, and we've certified 150 service dog teams, primarily veterans. We have a couple first responder teams, and then again the 10 right here in Boise. We also have a facility program that we don't have here, although I saw something on the news last night that made me think about it. We have 10 dogs, about 10 dogs in San Diego that are serving veterans and first responders at different programs. So we have 2 dogs that are facility dogs at residential programs for veterans. And then we have dogs with San Diego Fire Rescue in their chaplaincy program, not only serving the first responders within fire rescue, but also going out and serving the community at incidences. We just placed another dog with San Diego PD. Our goal is to have 8 dogs working in San Diego Police Department in their peer and wellness departments, helping our first responders get over the day-to-day, and hopefully be able to deal with that trauma so they can avoid some of the mental health they may have down the road. In addition, we have one at La Mesa PD, and I just placed a dog with Border Patrol. So we are growing, and we are small. We are 2 employees. We have lots of volunteers. Our goal is to have our veterans as our trainers, and that's one of the reasons. Other reason I was here in Boise this week to introduce some of our veterans to, because of COVID, we weren't all together, but to introduce some of our veteran teams with Mark and his dog so that they could work together and do the training by absence when I'm in California. So that's a little bit about Next Step Service Dogs. And again, the service is free to the veterans. Training and placement. So Sue, where are you, Sue? Sue asked me to speak about the topic of the difference between our emotional support animals, therapy dogs, and service dogs. It's always a hot topic. There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of fraudulent dogs out there. And I want to believe that It's lack of education. I don't think people intend their dogs to be fraudulent. They just don't really know what a service dog is and what it does. So they think their pet, their companion dog, that is definitely helping them. All of us, who has a companion dog here? Lots, right? Doesn't it feel good when you go home and you look at the dog and you pet the dog? It's immediate. There's nothing faster. However, it doesn't mean the dog is trained to be in public. So I just want to touch on that, and then I do have some handouts that Sue can share with you. So emotional support animal. An emotional support animal is your pet dog that you, and it could be a cat, that you use for yourself to emotionally feel better. Psychologists, psychiatrists can write a prescription for you to have this emotional support animal, most times due to anxiety. That dog, with that prescription, some facilities will allow you to bring that dog in. It's up to the facility. Some housing, apartments, community, residential centers, they may allow you to have that dog living on your property as an ESA dog, but they don't have to. It's up to management. An emotional support dog requires no formal training, although I highly suggest you do get some training. And it's really, it's a comfort dog. I think it's a wonderful tool, but it doesn't have the public access that our service dogs have, okay? Or require training. A therapy dog is a dog that, again, a companion dog that you go and you get trained to serve other people. Is anybody here a therapy dog handler? No? Yeah. So a therapy dog handler is someone that goes through this course, and they take their dog through this course to make sure that it has the basic obedience and manners that's required to go out and serve the public. So it's my companion dog that you take out and you belong to maybe an organization that serves a hospital or a senior center, and you take your dog there to love on other people, and other people, the community, have the benefit of enjoying your pet. But it is trained to do that. Okay, there are some guidelines that need to be followed. It's very similar to what the AKC refers to as the canine good citizen, where it's basic manners, dog can greet appropriately, dog has a short recall, things of that nature. So it does require training. That dog is only permitted by law to enter the public facility in which it is working. Even though it might have that nice therapy dog vest on, it is not allowed to go to the grocery store. You would have Winco here, right? It can't go to the hospital if it's just visiting a friend. It has to be working with their handler within the organization and the job they have for that day. Okay? A service dog. This is a service dog. I'm going to read it. A service dog defined by the American Disability Act, ADA. Service animals are defined as dogs that are individually trained to do work or perform tasks for people with disabilities. Examples of such work or tasks include guiding people who are blind, alerting people who are deaf, pulling a wheelchair, alerting and protecting a person who is having a seizure, reminding a person with mental illness to take prescribed medications, calming a person with PTSD during an anxiety attack, or performing other duties. Service animals are working animals. They are not pets. The work or task a dog has been trained to provide must directly relate to a person's disability. Dogs whose sole function is to provide comfort or emotional support do not qualify as service dogs under the ADA. And the reason I stress that to provide comfort or emotional support is not a service dog task is because in our public, people read the law, they look up the law. So they'll go out and they'll have their dog and they put that nice little service dog vest on, and then they'll go into a store, and by law you can ask 2 questions. Is that your dog serving a disability, and what task or work does that dog perform? And people, everybody's got the internet, and they'll say, oh, the dog makes me feel better, it's for emotional. They think that that's an appropriate answer for anxiety. That is not a task, okay? Deep pressure therapy, laying on top of me to calm me, that's a task. But just making me feel good is not a task. So I don't know if any of you have businesses or own properties that you've had this problem with people misrepresenting their dogs as service dogs. The law is on your side. You can ask 2 questions. Is that your service dog, and what work or task does it perform for you? In addition, you need to know that, and you can read the entire American Disability Act law, but the dog has to be appropriate. The dog needs to be quiet in public. It shouldn't be whining, barking. The dog doesn't eliminate in public. It doesn't jump on you. It doesn't jump on other people. It greets appropriately. If you notice, our service dogs are they're down and out. They're quiet. That is, you can tell they're well trained. They've been in this environment. They've been trained to do this work. So I get very passionate about it because that dog that's fraudulent interrupts their work. And when their work gets interrupted, how do you think they feel? And they worked hard, like David said, he worked hard to get Sky. Months of work. Testing, they're retested every 3 months, the first year and every year thereafter. It's a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication. Not to mention the resources that a nonprofit puts into it. So I am passionate about it, and I truly believe it's lack of education. Because the public just doesn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what service dog was before I met Sally. I knew I shouldn't touch the vest. But I didn't really understand the work that they do. And not all disabilities are visible. PTSD, hearing, diabetic, seizure, a peanut allergy, they're not visible, right? But those dogs are serving a purpose. So you can't judge by the size of the dog either. I have clients that will come in, Gina, I know that dog was fake, it was little. That's not true.
So on this sheet that I brought to hand out, I have to disagree. It says companionship, provides emotional support through companionship as a main purpose. And under service dogs,
is that better? Yeah. Under service dogs, it's X'd out now. I disagree. The companionship and the purpose these dogs give to these men and women get them out of bed in the morning. So I have to disagree with this. So I just want to point that out. When you read that, some of you might say, well, there's got to be companionship here. I agree, there is companionship. So what was I saying? What were we talking about? Little dogs, yeah. So little dogs, most hearing dogs are little dogs. They tend to be small dogs. They tend to be high driven because they have to go, they have to alert. So they might be in the other room. They hear the doorbell, and they've got to make it across the room to tell their owner, or they're alerting for a fire alarm. You'll see people traveling with their small dog for hearing because in hotels they don't have the technology that they need to alert them for a fire or smoke alarm. I have worked with somebody that strictly wanted the hearing dog just for traveling. He didn't need it at home because he had the technology within his home to assist him, but he didn't have it when he traveled. So you can't judge. You can, however, by the obedience and the manners that they have when they're in public. No matter what task or work that dog is performing, a service dog has manners. It has obedience. And if not, and maybe someone here has that dog, find a trainer. Work with them. Get it done. I don't disagree that you need that dog, but it needs to be appropriate in public. Okay? So I do want to do some Q&A because I think that's always important. But is there anybody here that wants to obtain a service dog? Is there anybody that would like information? Okay, good. So I did mention before about Mark. There's a couple of ways about going about getting a service dog. Under the ADA, the American Disability Act, you can train your own service dog. Absolutely, and you can find some information online, and that is a great option. I won't lie, especially if you're getting this dog for mental health or PTSD or anxiety or something of that nature, TBI, raising a puppy is tough. It causes a lot of stress. Guys call me almost weekly, if not daily. Oh, I'm gonna get a puppy again, should I train it? And I say, no, let me place you with a dog. Not because I don't want them to raise a puppy, because I know how stressful it is. So if you're going to do that, please get the tools that you need. That's why I started puppy classes, for that reason, because there's such a need. And I get it, you want your own dog, you want to pick it. I understand that. So, if you're going to do it yourself, get yourself a trainer or get involved with somebody that knows what they're doing for service dogs. not all trainers know how to, there's a lot of great trainers out there, but service work is very different because the dog needs to settle down in public. He needs the public and the environmental exposure. I had a dog recently come to me, and the dog actually bit the person that, somebody in my organization that works with me. It was not a lot of damage, it wasn't bad. But I come to find out the service dog trainer he was working with had a collar, a vibration collar on the dog, so when the dog was distracted by a person or another dog, he would get vibrated. Well, gosh, yeah, I bet he hates that person because every time he looked at a person, they brought something negative to him, he got shocked. So and he said, well, service dogs aren't supposed to, look at other people. True, but they have to like everybody. They're supposed to be able to handle the distraction, but if one of these men wanted to get with their dogs and say, hey, would you like to visit with my dog? The dog needs to be appropriate. So do find yourself the right trainer. You can go to an organization. There's lots of organizations out there. I would recommend Assistance Dog International. That's a great resource for a service dog organization that is held to a standard. But there are others out there that can help as well. Just make sure they understand service dog work. The bonus or the benefit of going to a service dog organization that is associated with Assistance Dog International, that is accredited, as a veteran you get VA benefits. You get free veterinarian care for your dog. So there is a benefit there. And the dog is being held to a standard. Not all ADI organizations will train a dog that is owned by a veteran. They only do what we call placement. I train the dog, I place it with you. I'm one of 8 organizations nationwide that has that service. And that's why I'm growing that program, because it's just there's such a need. And starting it here, here in Boise. So do your research, and I left my business cards and some information over there. I'd be happy to help. By no means am I standing here saying that you need to come to Next Step or you need to go to ADI organization, but I want to help you find the right tools because I see the other side. I see what happens when a veteran, a civilian, whoever, doesn't get the right tools and they've invested not only money but their heart. And I don't want to see that. It makes me very sad. So I'd be glad, very, very happy to help you. Okay. When you are looking, I will elaborate. When you're looking for that organization or that person, make sure that you ask some questions. What kind of dog are they placing? Are they asking you, what's your lifestyle? What's your family like? What are you missing out on? It's one of my first questions. I say to the men and women, what do you want to be doing? Do you want to go hiking? Would you like to get back on your boat? Would you like to start skiing? What do you want to do so that I can best place that dog with you, that I get a dog that's maybe high energy, or maybe I get a dog that's low energy? For some of my older clients, Vietnam vets, I have a little bit, slower moving dog. I don't give them an 18-month, Labrador. So you want to make sure that they're placing the right dog with you or that you're purchasing the right dog. There are certain breeds that are not cut out for this work. Your gun dogs, they're not cut out for service dogs. It's just, it's not what they want to do. I was just telling somebody earlier, I just career changed one of our puppies at 14 months old. His drive was great. It was ridiculous. It was off the charts. I career changed him to the Service Dog Foundation, and the response I got back from the trainers, they said, we can't wait for his health evaluation to end because we can't wait to get our hands on him. His video that we prepared, it was off the charts. He ran over rubble, up rocks, over logs. He had never done it before. He loved it. That's what that dog should be doing. That dog should not be doing service dog work. So you want to make sure that you're getting the right dog. And I know a lot of breeders here, they're it's gun dogs, hunting. That might not be the line that you want to look at for your dog. So just be mindful of that. And that the dog, if you need balance work, you have mobility issues, make sure that that dog is tall enough and weighs enough to help you with that. You don't want a little 45, 50-pound dog if you're a 6'2" guy at 190 pounds. That's not going to work. So be mindful of those little things. And that's a lot of the education that I think some organizations don't give to the people that are inquiring about the dog. So I'd like to help with that if I can. How to interact with a service dog. I will touch on that. They will talk a lot about that. If a dog has a vest on, and even if it has a therapy vest on, if the dog is vested, it has a uniform. That means it is working. So you don't interact with the dog. Not only petting, some people say, well, I didn't pet him. No, but you're whistling at him, right? that's just as bad. We don't want to interrupt the work that they're doing. So no petting, no whistling, no making, like little noises, clicking, eye contact, they're just inappropriate because it's affecting the work that they're doing. And again, especially in our organization, our handlers, our veterans look whole, but those dogs are doing jobs. That dog could be a seizure alert dog. If you're messing with the dog, that dog could miss a cue and that person could have a seizure. So it's really important not to interfere with their work. However, it's fine to say, hey, would it be okay if I say hello to your dog? And then the person, the handler, has a choice. Yes, let me have them sit, and they can visit, or no, we're working right now. Or no, my dog's just, training, just young, it's a little overwhelming right now. That gives the person the opportunity to make a decision, a choice. So, and by law, the dog doesn't have to be vested. In our organization, they have to be vested when they're working, because that's the only way that the public knows that the dog is working and how to interact appropriately. Okay. What are some of your other, well, I'm going to ask them. Some of the other things the public is doing that's interfering with your work. Andrew? I see you laughing.
Do you want to ask a few questions of these?
Just coming, yeah, that's what, yeah. He said, just randomly coming up and petting the dog, and I get why. Look at that dog. So cute, right? Like so inappropriate, right? It could really wreck the day. Yeah. And again, I don't think it's mean-spirited. I think it's lack of education. I really do. David.
Yeah, Gina, I think you touched on it, but coming up to the dog, whistling, or saying, "Oh, what a good-looking dog," or trying to be very cute, that voice triggers them more than anything else. And in a lot of ways, I try very hard to train my dog to be publicly acceptable. And so by doing that, can distract them, distract the conversation that I'm having, because now I need to turn to the dog. And in a lot of ways, it's really hard for me already, because I don't have a physical disability. So everybody comes up to me and says, "Oh, you're young, you're tall, you must be a trainer." No, actually, this dog is mine. And so it just adds to the public viewpoint of being accepted, I guess, in some ways, lack of better terms, of having a dog and being in public in general.
Thank you. And something else, it's also unfair to the dog. Because the dog is like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to, and then that dog can feel down the leash what's going on in the handler's body. So it's also a disfavor to the dog as well, because the dog is getting a mixed message, and then it gets confused about what he's really supposed to be doing. And not that he's going to get in trouble, because that's not how we train our dogs, but it's just not fair to the dog. This also includes pictures and video. And I don't think that's maybe a hot topic here with this audience, but when we're out and about training, it happened yesterday. I don't even know where we were yesterday, but we were at the hotel in like the outside courtyard training, and right away someone came out of their hotel room with a camera to take video of us training. And I asked her if she could not do that. That this was just not right. It was private. And I know they're not taking video or pictures of us It's the dogs. They're well behaved, they're well trained, they're excited. People enjoy seeing a dog being trained, especially when it's well trained. But it really isn't. You're infringing on someone's privacy. And again, I don't think it's as big here, but I'll tell you, in San Diego, those cameras come out so fast. I've had so many interactions on that, and it's better they're getting the interaction from me than from them. You know, because I can only imagine what they want to say, and I have a rule, like no F-bombs in public. It just can't happen. Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to wrap up. Yes?
Do rescue dogs have a place in your program?
Good question. Do rescue dogs have a place in my program? Yes and no. Rescue dogs, shelter dogs are there for a reason. Okay? Right now, the rescue dogs I'm seeing is because of lack of socialization coming out of COVID. That's not good for my program. So once in a while we get a good dog, but I'll admit, I have really high standards. So, and they're going to have a bump. So it's rarely that we find that right dog. It's out of a shelter. Yeah. I know there's a lot of organizations that they say they only do shelter dogs, but look closely at their dogs. Anybody else? Oh, yes.
At what age do you begin the training?
Yeah, so at what age? For advanced training, we usually start somewhere around 18 months to 2 years of age. That's typically where we start the advanced training. If I'm raising a puppy, it really starts at 8 weeks. But by 12 months, usually, depending on the temperament, I can start doing task training. Yeah. If someone's coming into our program with their own dog, it has to be a minimum of 18 months. There's just so much maturity that happens between a year and 18 months of age with a dog. Yeah. Yeah. And over 3 years, I don't typically take a dog over 3 years old. And the reason is it takes about a year to really get fluid. So now the dog's 4. At 8, I start looking at retiring between 8 and 10, depending on the breed, depending on the health. So that only gives them 4 years, and I just don't feel that's enough. That's a lot of work to put in for 4 working years. It's not a hard set 3 years, but I tend to stay with that. Anybody else? No? Yes?
Are these dogs at all trained to protect themselves against a dog that...
Could you repeat the question for us?
Against a what?
Someone who has what they think is an emotional support dog but isn't trained and attacks.
Okay. A service dog.
Okay. The question.
Yeah. The question was, are any of our service dogs trained to protect or attack an emotional support dog?
Well, to protect themselves.
To protect themselves against other dogs? Okay. No.
I'll protect the dog.
I'm sorry?
I'll protect the dog.
Yeah, so especially under the American Disability Act, service dogs are not taught and should not be taught any type of protection or aggressive behavior. I definitely do not do that. But I will tell you this: if a dog comes after one of our program, one of our service dogs, you can better believe that handler's getting in between them. Yeah.
I wondered,
Yeah.
because it's unfair to the service dogs when you have other dogs out there with them.
Honestly, I do a lot of companion work as well, and I teach the same thing. Get in front of your dog. You don't want to get between a dog fight. So either get away, turn your dog, and leave. You just never ever want to put your hand in between the dog fight because you're going to lose. Yeah, and it hurts. It hurts. Those laughing have been there. Anybody else? We're good? Oh, yes. Yes. When we retire a dog in our program, the dog stays with the veteran. Yeah. The dog stays there, and if they should need a successor dog, they go right up the chain to number 1. They don't have to wait. And of course, they keep their dog. They keep their dog. And if for some reason they couldn't keep their dog, whether it be room, financial, whatever, I would take the dog and I would keep it until he lived out his old age. Yeah, oh, no, after retirement, we don't detrain them, but they don't have to go out and put their vest on. They're pets. They're companion dogs. I think they're used to be held to a standard, but they don't put their vests back on. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this might be, is there a difference between male and female dogs that you prefer?
Oh, is there a difference between training a male or a female dog, and which one do I prefer? I don't really see a difference. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There is a difference. I do enjoy training the male dogs better, I have to say. The females are they're just a little different edge, but you know, we are different edge. We are, you know, it's just that. But as far as their work performance, no, I don't. And I don't see a female dog being softer. I don't. I have some female dogs that are not very soft. So that doesn't hold true. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes?
Okay. The gentleman asked, where do we get our dogs from that we're providing? Several things. We have some puppies that are donated to us, and I'm always looking for puppy raisers. So that's one, we raise the dogs. We have a community relationship. We're a program partner of Guide Dogs for the Blind. They have a couple that they work with, a couple organizations. We happen to be one of them. The biggest blessing you could ever ask for. Their dogs already have all the socialization. By the time I get them, now I can just go to work. So I've been very lucky. Sky comes from Guide Dogs for the Blind, actually. All 3 dogs come from Guide Dogs for the Blind that are here. Yeah. Yeah. But, and I have some dogs that are donated to us.
If it's okay with you, I think you'll stick around, right,
Oh,
Gina?
yeah.
Please feel comfortable to come up and talk with her because she's happy to stay here. Let's give her a big thank you and to our wonderful deputy Gina for dogs. We appreciate what a great service you're doing. Thank you so much for coming up all the way from San Diego to share with us. So come on up and talk with Gina all you want. And her information, by the way, is right over here on the table where David is.
Okay,
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, everybody have a great May, and we'll see you the 1st of June. Thanks for coming. I think there are a few more cookies back there, so help yourself.